So, you're building a piece of software. You already know that your team, well, your team is everything. But actually building that team, it can feel like a minefield of crazy high costs and, let's be honest, sometimes questionable quality. So how do you get it right? In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into the dedicated developer model. It's a really powerful approach that just might be the solution you've been looking for.
And make no mistake, the stakes are incredibly high. This quote just nails it. One bad hire can set off a chain reaction, torching your budget and completely killing your project's momentum. You know, it's not just about ending up with bad code, it's about losing the entire race. And that's exactly the problem we are here to solve.
All right, here's our game plan for the next few minutes. We'll start by defining exactly what a dedicated developer is. Then we'll break down the core benefits, give you a step-by-step hiring plan, talk about the money, global costs, and finally, we'll help you steer clear of some really common mistakes. Let's jump right in.
Okay, first things first, what exactly is a dedicated developer? I promise, it's not just another buzzword flying around the industry. It's a very specific model, and it's all built around focus and deep team integration. Here's the core idea. A dedicated developer works for you, and only you, full-time. They aren't juggling 3 or 4 other clients. They become a real, integrated part of your team, just managed through a remote partner. That exclusive focus on your project, your goals, that's the secret sauce right there.
So, how does this model really stack up against the usual suspects? Well, freelancers can be awesome for specific tasks, but let's face it, their attention is often divided. And an in-house team gives you total control, sure, but it comes with all that overhead. Salaries, benefits, office space, the whole shebang. The dedicated model, it kind of hits this perfect sweet spot, giving you the focus of an in-house team with the cost efficiency of outsourcing.
So when does this model really shine? Well, it's a perfect fit if you have a long-term project with a complex roadmap ahead. It's also ideal when you absolutely need consistent, high-quality work day in and day out. And it's pretty much essential when you're dealing with sensitive data and you need a stable, trustworthy team for the long haul. Okay, so we've covered the what. Now for the really good part, the why. What are the game-changing benefits that make this whole approach so powerful?
There are basically 4 huge wins here. First up, speed. When your team is 100% focused, you just get to market faster. Second, it's cost efficient. You get predictable monthly pricing without any surprise recruitment fees. Third, it's flexible. You can scale your team up or down whenever your needs change. And finally, you get to keep all that knowledge. The expertise stays with your project long term, which is absolutely vital for evolving your product.
All right, let's say you're thinking, this sounds pretty good. How do you actually make it happen? This next part is your practical, no-fluff action plan. A simple, step-by-step guide to finding and hiring the perfect person for the job.
It really just breaks down into 4 simple steps. First, you've got to define exactly what you need, your tech stack, the key features, your deadlines. Next, you choose the right engagement model for your particular workload. Then, you evaluate your candidates, and not just on their technical skill, but on how they communicate and if they fit your team culture. And finally, you interview your top picks, and seriously, always consider a trial period to make sure it's the right match.
And that second step, choosing your model, is so important. This table breaks it down for you. If you have a big, long-term project, full-time is probably the way to go. For smaller, more specific tasks, part-time is a great fit. And if you have a really complex project, a full team-based approach brings in all the different expertise you'll need, from design all the way to QA.
Now for the question that's probably on everyone's mind. What does this actually cost? Let's pull back the curtain and take a look at the financial landscape, because geography plays a huge role here.
Yeah, the difference in average hourly rates across the globe is, well, it's dramatic. In the US and Western Europe, you could be paying around $100 an hour. That same level of expertise in Eastern Europe, maybe 45. And in a talent-rich hub like India, it could be around 33. We're not talking about a small difference here. This is a massive opportunity to optimize your budget.
In fact, you can find incredibly skilled developers in places like India starting as low as $20 an hour. What that really means is you can unlock huge cost savings, freeing up cash for marketing, sales, or other areas of growth, all without having to sacrifice the quality of your product.
But a little word of caution. The hourly rate isn't the whole story. You always have to remember to factor in some of the other potential costs. Think about the time it takes to onboard someone, the subscriptions for tools like Slack or Jira, and maybe some minor expenses that come with coordinating across different time zones. Okay, we're getting near the end, and this might be the most important section of all. Knowing what to do is great, but knowing what not to do? That can literally save your project from disaster. So here are 3 common pitfalls you absolutely have to avoid.
The very first mistake, and it's a tempting one, is being seduced by the absolute lowest price tag. A super cheap hourly rate might look amazing on paper, but if it leads to sloppy code, missed deadlines, and constant rewrites, I promise you, it's gonna cost you way more in the long run. Always prioritize skill and experience.
Second big one, never skip quality assurance. It can be so tempting to just rush features out the door, right? But skipping code reviews and proper testing is what they call a false economy. You are guaranteed to just create more work for yourself later on, fixing bugs that could have been caught easily at the start.
And finally, the third pitfall is a total lack of clarity. If your developer doesn't have clear goals, KPIs, and there isn't a solid communication plan in place, you're just setting yourself up for confusion and delays. Remember this, ambiguity is the enemy of progress.
So let's do a quick recap of the biggest takeaways. First, the dedicated developer model gives you this powerful mix of focus, control, and cost efficiency. Second, success really comes from following a clear 4-step plan. Define, choose, evaluate, and interview. Third, looking at global talent pools gives you a massive opportunity to make your budget work harder. And finally, always prioritize skill over just grabbing the lowest price.
And all of that leaves us with one final question to think about. With all the benefits we've covered, the focus, the cost savings, the scalability, could a dedicated team be that missing piece of the puzzle that really unlocks the success of your next launch? The answer could honestly change the way you build. Thanks for watching.